Claire Jedrick, and we are here for race 2 of the 4 Hours of Sepang Asia Le Mans series. Now, the race ended in the wet, and it looks like it might start in the wet for the prototypes as well as the GT cars. Who will dominate our screens, and who is looking for redemption for that golden ticket invite to the 24 Hours of Le Mans? Let's take a look.
Riding on board here with the Aston Martin Vantage GT3 here at Sepang. 15 turns coming down here into turn 1, hard on the brakes, ABS working really hard through turn 1, about 60 k's mid-corner. Then looking to flick it back left here for turn 2. Need to get a good run off of here as you drive up through this long sweeping right-hander through turn 3, winding away uphill into the brake zone into turn 4, which is aided by this elevation, hard on the brakes, have to spot the apex curb there on the right, then be careful of track limits here on the left, little bit of a bumpy exit curb there as you drop downhill here into turn 5, sweeping through left, and then setting up for right. You've just got to be careful, a little bump there on entry, apex curb, and then being careful of track limits on exits, winding down into turn 7 here. Very tricky corner, got to thread it through. Be careful of track limits on the exit of both 7 and 8, running off there all the way up into the top of 4th gear, and then hard on the brakes down to about 60 k's an hour again. Careful of that apex curb there, that's bumpy, unsettles the car, power down, early short shift there through turns 10 and 11. These Michelins are really screaming by this point, really loaded up. A lot of tyre degradation here. Just sweeping through down into turn 12, fast left-hander. A little bit of apex curb there, got to be careful of track limits on the exit, and then another very tricky long right-hander, braking and turning at the same time, spotting the apex here very nicely at turn 14. Really good run off of there, getting the power down nicely, very smoothly, working your way up through the gearbox, and then thinking about spotting your brake point for the all-important turn 15. Very tricky to get this corner right, hard on the brakes, it's off camber, it's a wide entry, and then slingshot on your way off and through. Great traction there, a little bit of exit curb, and that's finishing a lap here at the Sepang Circuit.
Welcome back. A brilliant race 1 yesterday, going from the dry to the wet. Well, Ollie, tell us all about lap 1 yesterday as well as the red flags.
Yeah, so in GT, at that lap 1 into turn 1, lots of multi-class accident, and that took out at least 2 of the GT cars, but then the rest of the race was predominantly dominated by the Audi and the centre-lock car. Veruti was phenomenal in that car, and then of course we had the rain and then the red flag right towards the end there, but Audi stayed dominant.
And Graham, no shortage of drama for the LMP2s and the LMP3s. Tell us about all the tyre changes.
Well, the tyre changes came right at the end there, but the main dramas were coming through the race. This is a deep and very talented 11-car LMP2 field. Some phenomenal racing, wheel-to-wheel stuff, predominantly clean. The rain spoiled the end when it looked like we were going to get real wheel-to-wheel stuff between Louis Delatraz and Mathieu Vazevière. And while the rain is falling now, we think we're going to get a predominantly dry race this afternoon. Expect a lot more of the same. It's a deep and high quality LMP2 class, and LMP3 will get closer through this season.
Well, thank you guys, and of course make sure you stay tuned for race 2.
Sunday and race 2 at Sepang. After race 1 finished under a red flag, it was looking significantly better on the weather front for Sunday's second 4-hour race in Malaysia, round 2 of the 2023-2024 Asian Le Mans series. The GT field stacked 23 cars on the grid, 8 different makes, including this car 4th in GT, the number 9 Get Speed car, the Mercedes AMG. Looked strong through the week, but had to give best in the final stakes to this car. Dominant winner on Saturday, the number 42 Santalok racing car, mainly thanks to the efforts of the amazing bronze-rated Alban Veruti. It would be Alban that started race 2 as well. Armanor Racing by Get Speed. Another strong Mercedes-AMG lineup with Martin Conrad of Haslan Zabir and Fabian Schiller, the number 7 car. On pole position, though, it would be the 37 car that was in real trouble early on. Trouble for Anton Liu at turn 2, put the car out of the race. They'd be looking for a much better race in the returning Hong Kong Super Team. A very welcome re-addition to the Asia Le Mans Series in 2023-24. Earl Bamber on the right-hand side, the team principal of EPM, the team that bears his initials. Earl Bamber Motorsport. It was Ron Reichert, by the way, on the left there. Julian Jerby and Michael Jensen from Breton Racing on the left and CD Sports on the right. And Martin Conrad ready to go. Team photographs. As the teams gather themselves for what is physically enduring here with the high humidity, high heat climate, and endurance racing also mentally demanding. The pressure does not quit. Great to see a packed grid and plenty of backing here. Douglas Koo ready to climb aboard his 65 Viper Nisa Racing Ligier. A trouble at the start of the race yesterday and looking for much better form. CD Sports, defending champions, 4th on the grid here, would be looking to move up and make a title challenge. The team with the Spanish flag. Fabian Laverne, Nick Adcock and Michael Jensen. The debuting team, Breton Racing, Dan Skostapola, Julian Gerby, the Michelin Le Mans Cup reigning champion, and Munir Stefan, the reigning champion from Romania in the Ligier European Series, looking to take the Czech team as far up the order as they can in this, their debut week. Francois Perrodo, what a stalwart he's become in Pro-Am racing, in the ACO rules format, world titles in GT Am and LMP2, and now a European Le Mans Series champion. Also European Le Mans Series champions, Cool Racing from Switzerland, 2nd on the grid in LMP3. With a new look crew for them in Asia against their title-winning, double title-winning now, European Le Mans Series effort, but it would be high-class racing. Auden Gudmundsson there standing by the car. Horace Landic star from Team Tour, becoming something of a force in the Michelin Le Mans Cup. But he's here supporting high-class racing, who run that effort in Europe, with young Seth Lucas just standing to the right there, and Anders Fjordbach. It was high-class racing that took the pole position by almost half a second, thanks to the efforts of Auden Gudmundsson. Once again, plenty of backing on the grid for AF Corsa and Francois Perrodo, as he prepares to climb aboard. Bibendum, as always, a presence on the grid. And Michelin tyres on every one of the 39 cars in all 3 classes, LMP2, LMP3 and GT3. Once again, the combined management teams of the ACO, LMEM and SRO behind the Asia Le Mans Series nowadays. 4th on the grid, meanwhile, LMP2, 99 racing after their win yesterday. Ahmed Al Hati, the Omani driver, climbing aboard the TF Sport Run car, running this year under the Jordanian flag. Suiting up and ready to go. Giorgio Roda climbing aboard the number 22 Proton Competition Orica, 3rd on the grid. We'll share that car with Julian Andlauer and Rennie Binder. They were in the mix yesterday. Did not get the best of luck when the weather hit, but certainly a force to be reckoned with through the race to come and this season. Reigning champions, D-Car Engineering. 5th in LMP2, the number 3 car, Alexander Matchon, it would be to take the start. Tom Dillman and Lawrence Her to join in later, the Luxembourg team. 2nd on the grid, Duquesne team, their green and black car. John Falb to start. Colin Watana Bennett from Thailand, and Oliver Rasmussen, a 2024 hypercar driver with Team Jota. TF Sport, a double pole setting effort from the multi-title winning team from the UK, and it would be Michael Downing, their silver ranked driver, came through with about 4/10 of a gap in qualifying that's happened on Saturday. Michael Downing, the silver ranked driver, has, well, perhaps a simple job. It can be simply expressed at least, as the car set out on the first of 2 formational laps, gap the field as the one silver driver in the LMP2 order and hand over the car in good order to their bronze ranked driver Sally Jolic. So away the field went, hopeful of dry conditions throughout this time over the 4-hour distance. The second of 2 4-hour races, of course, here in Malaysia, with the return this weekend of the Asia Le Mans Series for the first time since 2020, and just before the curtains were drawn across the world with the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's great to be back. Akimapeli awaits. Teams some tenterhooks really here as the cars come around, formed up behind the Porsche safety car and getting ready to be released under the control of the pole setter. Darrell Young there, Richard Lyons, management team at Craft Bamboo. They'll be hoping for a better day on Sunday than they had on Saturday. Dynan cruising down towards the line, waiting for those red lights to go green, and they do. They go early, and Dynan gets a much better start this time, under less threat into turn 1 than he had been on Saturday from a charging John Fowle. Plenty of room to take the line there, as Giorgio Roda looks to see whether or not the outside line might work in a battle with the second place Duquesne team man. Would there be drama though? In the background, a little bit of puff of smoke indicates that perhaps there was. Dynan though was away and clear, and as you can see in the background, the Craft Bamboo car this time got further than turn 2. It was trouble this time for Douglas Koo in the 65 car at turn 2. What had caused that problem will we see shortly. Did he fall or was he pushed? As we'll see shortly, he was pushed. John Fowle though, after a less challenging start into turn 1, was all over Michael Dynan at this part of lap 1, looking to see whether or not he could pressure the other American into a mistake. Also up in the leading order, George Kurtz in the number 4 car from CrowdStrike Racing by APR, another car that had been in trouble early on in Saturday's race. A much better start this time, under pressure of Mohamed Al Hati though, in the car that took the race win yesterday, number 99. So TS Sport, it was leading the way, and as we've traditionally seen in this new era of Asia Le Mans Series racing, close run things throughout the GT3 field. 21 Ferrari to the right hand side there, passed by Gabriel Rindoni, who overdid it, trying to set the car up for the following right-hander. A half spin for the number 19 car. He would recover the track though. The Pure Racing Porsche trying to fend off the challenge of the 69 Optimum Racing McLaren, but it would be the yellow and black McLaren 720 that got the better run through turn 15 and would then start the drag race down the main straight to try to take the advantage into turn 1 and turn 2. But Pure Racing not giving up the fight. This was a battle for 22nd position on the lower end of the top 10. Would that line work for the Porsche? It seems not at this point, and the McLaren made it through and took their position. James Cottingham pushing hard at this stage, the British GT star. Mixed bag, think of a GT3 make, and it's very likely in amongst this as the Project 1 BMW deals with the challenge of Anthony Yu in the Craft Bamboo AMG. He's immediately under pressure from behind by the number 9 Get Speed car, similar if not identical car in all but livery and driver. But ahead and up front in the class, it was the Santalok Audi once again and pulling away. LMP3 meanwhile settling itself down into a running order. There is the GT3 leader with a gap to the Almanar Racing car. Then that fast starting number 56 Michael Dynan still with John Fowle, trying to keep the gap to a manageable level behind in the Duquesne team, number 30 Orica, but Dynan beginning to edge away. The gap within the first 4 minutes, up to about a single second, but Dylan had the measure this time and was running a much more conservative pace to look after the Michelin tyres for his second stint. LMP3, line astern the first 4 cars, and then Alban Veruti beginning to pull away again as he had yesterday, as behind Maxime Houston getting onto terms with Martin Conrad for second place. The bright orange Project 1 BMW getting by the white and black AMG of Almanar Racing by GetSpeed. Behind, though, the white Ferrari of Kai Cozzolino beginning to make waves through the field, again coming through from the rear of the grid. The gold-rated driver, as 2 AMGs of Crap Bamboo Racing and GetSpeed Racing contested 4th place. For the moment, Anthony Liu fending off the red car from GetSpeed. A much, much better start to the race this time for the Hong Kong team after disaster at turn 2 on Saturday. Second of the Project 1 BMWs, the marbled grey finish on their 93 car, also in the mix here, but not quite able to get onto terms with the charging pair of AMGs. It would be AMG's 3rd, 4th and 5th at this rate. On board the number 27, Opturn McLaren, Mark Ratcliffe. His next target would be the number 8 EBM Porsche. Back up into LMP2, CrowdStrike Racing by APR and 99 Racing, George Kurtz, with his mirrors full of Ahmed Al-Hati. This was the battle for 5th in a 5-car train. 4 of them trying to hang on to the coattails of Alexander Matschul. The German driver was keeping them all honest behind. Al-Hati looking for the best line to get the slingshot down the start-finish straight to complete the lap, but George Kurtz doing a fine job of keeping the number 4 car in the hunt at this stage of the race, with Francois Perraudot and PJ Hyatt well in the hunt as well. LMP2, a big step forward for the Age of Le Mans series this year. Francois Perraudot and PJ Hyatt in the hunt as well. Back in the pits. Good news for CrowdStrike Racing by APR is those 2 young men, Melcher Jacobsen and Colin Brown, still to come in this effort. At the moment, though, it was bronze on bronze action. PJ Hyatt having a great start to his LMP2 career. As in LMP3, CD Sports and Breton Racing at this stage contesting 3rd place. It wouldn't stay like that through this race. Last year's champions fending off this year's debutants in the junior LMP class. On board with the Optima Motorsport McLaren, Tomono Bifuji ahead in the 77 Aston Martin, the gold-rank driver trying to get by the number 91 Pure Racing car. Kai Cozzolino was now on terms with Martin Conrad as the 56 Project 1, the orange BMW, taking its drive-through penalty for an infringement at the start. The BMW failing to follow the race director's instructions, not keeping to the tram lines at the race start. Now it was game on, with the number 3 DCAR Engineering car having got by the 99 Racing car. Ahmed Al-Hati going wide in his defence. Francois Perraudot making his way past John Falb, who had been off the track at some point here. Trouble loomed and dirty tyres, it seems, for the number 30 car after some kind of off-track moment. There'd been a clash between the Lipet Lamborghini and the 86 GR Racing car, which had turned Mike Wainwright around. He would struggle to get the car back on track and in order. Let's hear John Falb on those dirty tyres going wide, and watch for the dust at the bottom of the screen here, as he went very, very wide indeed and was lucky both to carry on through the gravel trap and to keep the car out the barriers. He would rejoin. Tomono Bifuji, as through came the 99 Racing car on the outside, now trying to get onto terms with the number 93 BMW. It would be the M4 at this stage keeping that position. The drive-through came the way of the Lamborghini for causing that collision with Mike Wainwright. The Orica trying to get by as these pair were having their own battle. Worrying moments for the Orica man as PJ Hyatt trying to do what he could to get around Alexander Matschel, with Francois Perotto fancying a bit of that as well. George Kurtz also coming into the picture. So 4 Oricas and amongst, well, half of the GT3 field at this point, but it's Matschel that would thread his way through. Darren Young aboard the number 93 car, the British GT champion, and his tormentor throughout this season in the Optimum McLaren, managing to make his way through. 2 British GT stars making their way through the pit lane. End of the driving time for PJ Hyatt after a cracking early race run from the American to hand over the car to Paul Chatin, as meanwhile in the lead of GT, finally Kei Cozzolino on to terms with Alban Veruti. A stellar run from the bronze-ranked French driver, but the Japanese driver would not be denied this time, and through swept the 82 car to lead. Pit stop cycle again for LMP2, 22 car on pit lane, as Cozzolino looked to make good his escape. Gold-rated driver, though, would have to hand over to Charles-Henri Sommery. Look to the back here as we look back at the start. Watch for the bright orange BMW there, moving to the inside before the start-finish line. That was deemed to be an infringement of instructions given by the race director. That's what caused the issue for Maxime Husten and the drive-through penalty later. Here, the chaos that ensued through turn 1, turn 2, with the incident that turned around Douglas Cohen behind, as we see the impact there on the apex of turn 2 on the back of the Orica from Martin Conrad. That put the squeeze on much of the GT3 field, and as you'll see, where there seemed to be gaps moments before, there was screen full of GT3 car contact there to the rear of the Audi from the Optimum car. Nothing you could do about that. Not expecting the car to break at that moment, but mercifully the entire GT3 field managed to get through relatively unscathed this time, unlike with Saturday's dramas, where a similar incident cost us 2 cars. Back to green flag running. Cool racing it was, in much better form on Sunday. Meantime, TF Sport quicker through the pits and 13 seconds up on a charging 99 Racing now. They, of course, are in relatively close contention with the 22 Proton car, and DK Engineering certainly not out of it. CrowdStrike Racing, though, looking good here. Trouble, though, for the 66 car and the 21 Ferrari. Andrei Rikazov with a problem under braking and hitting the side, as we'll see here on the 21 Ferrari. 66 out on the spot with front suspension damage. On the 21 car, heavy damage to the side and the rear of the brand new Ferrari 296. That car would pit and retire. Safety car was called. Charles-Henri Sommery straight after the safety car, taken for the lead by Maxime Husten, and also through charging Alban Veruti, staying in the hunt, having been through the pit stop cycle. TF Sports, the gap closed up with the safety car and under pressure from Nikita Mazepin up the inside for the ex-Formula 1 driver on the bronze-rated TF Sport man. Sally Jolic now aboard the number 90 car for the lead. So to the lead for the first time in this race, 99 Racing, Saturday's winners. Meantime, trying to put a lap on the 24 Nielsen Racing car was the DK Engineering number 3, followed closely by the CrowdStrike Racing by APR number 4. Mohamed Al Hati had finished his time looking pretty warm. Gilles Duquesne checking out the screens with progress for his car. It was another very warm day. Jelic trying to fend off the closer attention still of the 22 Proton car, which had lost now the third place to Deco Engineering. A charging Lawrence Hurt, forging up the order. Was Colin Brown too, looking to make good with his pace. The 3, the 22 and the 4 providing the entertainment up the inside of the 888 AMG. Colin Brown looking to get onto terms with this pair as quickly as he possibly could. 3 wide. And Jelic beginning to drop down the order as Lawrence Hurt made up the inside, damaged the front left corner rather of the 82 car. Not allowed through the Almanar Racing AMG at this point. Colin Brown going head to head here. Bit of a brush, forceful move for the American, but making the move count. The number 4 car was moving up and moving up fast, with Milty Jakobsen still to come in this car. At this stage looking very good indeed for the American flagged team, run with the Portuguese team APR as it is in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Of course, as 83 also moving up the order with Alessio Rivera now aboard the car. And he too would make it by the number 22 car. Francois Perraudot enjoying that moment. But Rennie Binder was having none of it. Pushing hard, taking the fight to the number 83 car. He would retake the place here in a drag race down the main straight. That would see the Proton car taking advantage through turn 1, as in closing in behind Podiums Chatin, pushing hard. Pace upped mightily as the Pro drivers climbed aboard. There would be multiple drive-through penalties meanwhile for a number of leading cars, including the 82F Corsa car, as the sister 83 again took the position back. Great stuff here between these two racers. On the other GT cars with a drive-through was Saturday's race winning 42 car. But dropped that car for the first time off the lead and was left now to chase the Pure Racing number 91 in the lead of the GT class. CD Sport lead the race. Cool Racing closing in though. 99 Racing lead the race, but that gap was coming down to the number 4 CrowdStrike car. Colin Brown having a stellar stint. Lawrence Hurt following through in third. Of Corsa right in the hunt as well in fourth, with Deco Engineering down to fifth. So the overall classification, after 63 laps, it was CrowdStrike Racing fending off the 99 Racing attack, 4 from 99, 22 Proton car and the 83 AF Corsa car. Breton Racing had cycled through the lead in LMP3 from CD Sport and Cool Racing. Lead but Motorsports, Lamborghini through the pit stops, though that owed us a stop from Pure Racing and Santa Lock with the Craft Bamboo Racing AMG, and both Optima McLaren still very much in the hunt. That's an issue for the Attempted Racing car, and of course put those two cars out, and there's trouble as well for the 9 Get Speed and the 8 EBM cars, AMG and Porsche also in trouble. Back to Green Flag Racing, leading car with an hour and 41 minutes to go. Colin Brown having a stellar stint at the wheel of the CrowdStrike by APR car. 99 Racing hanging on in there, but couldn't quite live with the pace. Mazepin, having taken the lead, had to give best to Colin Brown. DKR and the Proton Racing with AO Racing branding aboard the car. Nemo versus, well, green on green striped car this time. Alexander Matschel had done his work. And too deep on the brakes from Rivera. That gave another chance for the 22 car to get onto terms. Side by side again, time after time in this race. We've seen the drag race down pit straight, looking for who's going to be late on the brakes this time. It would be AF Corsa retaking the advantage in what was a battle for third. Behind it was the 55 car going by the DCAR engineering car for fifth. Pulled up Chatin, managing to make that move. Still 20 minutes to go in this race. Meantime, the two Optimum Motorsport McLarens side by side. Ollie Milroy putting a move on his teammate. Young Malte Jakobsen ready to go. We got into the final 90 minutes. The emerging Danish star would be part of the dramas coming into the final stints of this race. Jonas Reed, ready to go in the 44 ARC Bratislava car, running 7th, relatively strong at this point. Jakobsen climbs aboard what had been the race leading car up to its penultimate pit stop. More or less perfectly timed for a fast run to the finish, but it would be the used tyres from qualifying going on to the 4. Could this be a factor at the end of the race against cars perhaps with slightly less used rubber? Here's the 44 car. Long history in the Asian Le Mans Series from the ARC Bratislava team from Slovakia. Mira Konopka, the team owner, team principal. But it would be Jonas Reed, son of Christian Reed, team principal of Proton Competition, to take this car to the finish. 99 Racing cycling through to the lead. It would be Louis Delatraz to finish the race for the Jordanian flag team as the 25 car from APR. Down in 10th at this stage. Made its penultimate pit stop. Also in was the number 30 car from Decane team. Just a repositioning of the rear clip. Minor delay there for the 30 car. Non-functioning rear light, the issue. Then trouble for the number 20 high-class racing car from LMP3. Dramas, smoke coming from the rear end of the car. That led to a run for the pits from a couple of the leading cars. 55 car coming in. Slightly delayed stop for the Proton team. Took a little longer than perhaps they would have liked for the rear right to go on the car, but the car away and clear. Harry Tinknell coming out to join the race. Safety car had been called. But almost perfect timing for the 55 at that stage. Two more cars had got the call. But would it be for emergency service? The DKR car held while the safety car picked up the leader. So that would be a delay on pit lane, but would rejoin the safety car queue.
50 car and overtake
And,
the safety car.
Driver out and absolutely fine under Fjord back from the high-class racing car. Back to green flag running, under an hour left. Delatraz with Mathieu Vazevier, and then further dramas in the same place, but with significantly more serious consequences for the car. It's Josh Borden with another incident in the 65 car, had made heavy contact with the barriers. Safety car was called again. And the 55 car this time delayed coming into pit lane. And that would cost the 55 car dearly at the end of this race. It's been an inspirational pit call, meantime, for the number 4 CrowdStrike by APR car. Delay coming onto pit lane, though, would mean the 55 car would drop down the order from what had been the lead. That would set up a huge tussle in all 3 classes at the end of the race. CD Sports, a bit of a brush there for the Cadcock at the end of the race, whilst leading, but he would survive. Decane team and DK Engineering battling for what would be 5th place at this point. They were left to wonder what might have been. Cool Racing trying to get through the flurry of traffic to get to Fabian Laverne finishing the race for CD Sports. Laverne in mighty form. Almanor Racing Optimum 69, the 888 AMG in the battle for the final podium position, or 4th as it would turn out. Pure Racing fending off Santalot. Christopher Haase it would be to finish the race in the Audi, trying to chase down Klaus Bachler in the 91 car. Fabien Laverne was having none of the challenge from CD Sports. He got his head down after that brush into and through turn 1 and was trying to get by Christopher Haase to get into clear air. 99 Racing meanwhile back in 3rd at this point. Delatraz had gone by Vasevier and was pushing hard. CrowdStrike Racing pulling away in the lead with Mads Jakobsen, showing the rest of the field a clean pair of heels ahead of Julian Andlauer. Looking very self-assured on this, the final lap of the race. Beautifully judged by all 3 drivers. Faultless from George Kurtz, rapid in the middle of the race from Colin Brown, and Malte Jakobsen delivering a controlled display of pace that would earn the US flag crew winners of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championships Michelin Endurance Challenge in 2023, a race win for the final major sports car race of the year. The second 4 hours of Sepang, 4 car left just to run down towards turn 15. The 8th place TF Sport car there, just about a lap down to the race winner. Malte Jakobsen would complete a pretty faultless run, the TF Sport car, allowing the car to go by and save the extra lap. A fine win for CrowdStrike Racing with APR. Great display on track and faultless on the strategy from David Leach, the team's technical director. Pure Racing followed home very closely indeed by Santalot Racing, but would be Porsche win this time after that drive-through penalty for Santalot, costing them the win. But Pure Racing, the winners here. Klaus Bachler heading home, Christopher Haase across the line after what would have stayed a full dry race. Honours even at the moment in race-winning terms between the Audi squad and Porsche. It would be CD Sport that would come through to take the win. Indeed, they'd gone through just ahead of the race winner, would have a lonely last lap before they could take the flag. But to the victor, the spoils here. And in what is a stacked LMP2 class, a marker put down by the number 4 crew after dominant form from the 99 Racing crew in mixed conditions yesterday. In the full dry, no answer to the pace of the number 4 with Colin Brown and Malte Jakobsen. Despite the interruptions, they'd come home very comfortably. There is CD Sports saying a very lonely final lap, but it would be Fabien Laverne to bring the car home, a very safe winner in LMP3. The defending champions put 25 points on the board towards a defence of their title. A win last year, sending this team to the Le Mans 24 Hours for the first time. crossing the line to joy from the team and relief from those responsible for strategy. Nick Adcock there congratulating the team's race engineer on a race well called. The LMP3 winners this time out. So 2 4-hour races delivered, 2/5 of the season gone, 40% of the race mileage run. The teams would be heading towards the podium before the Christmas break, and the Asia Le Mans Series coming back to the UAE in February with 3 races, 1 in Dubai, 2 in Abu Dhabi. For now though, it was all about celebrating where celebrations are due, and they were here. Michael Jensen there in the glasses. Milton Jakobsen bringing in the number 4 car under the podium to be greeted by the media and his team. Pure Racing, a race well run there. Colin Brown welcoming back his young Danish teammate. A blend of experience and pace there. How many more times will we see this young man in celebratory form? Pure Racing greeting Klaus Bachler back. There's George Kurtz, Colin Brown in the centre, and yes, with the celebratory finger in the air. Well, there you go. Great stuff from Pure Racing's trio. Taking a first race win in ACO Rules Racing. This team will be joining the FI World Endurance Championship this year with Monsai Racing and CD Sports. The first win of this season after a win from Cool Racing on Saturday. It's the Spanish flag team celebrating their first win too. So 3 different winners, and in fact all 3 winners from Saturday would finish in 2nd place in their relative classes in Sunday's 4-hour encounter. Fabien Laverne delighted with that, and he'd be greeted home by his teammates very shortly after. Great stuff. Again, the winners' caps being readied. Klaus Bachler correctly, utterly delighted with that performance. The Lithuanian flag team will be bringing a new anthem to the Asia Le Mans Series podium as the prized Michelin cap goes on to the prize winner's head.
We have the winners of LMP2 here, crowd strike. Well, guys, for car number 4, congratulations. Tell us these emotions. You ticked all the boxes this weekend.
Yeah, it was a great, good day. Obviously, yesterday wasn't quite what we had planned, but this is more to what we were trying to do. Great job by Malt and GK. Man, APR guys gave us a really fast car, and yeah, it's great to execute it. This CrowdStrike car was looking good here in Asia for sure.
And after yesterday, it was just a great bounce back by the team. 2 the best drivers on the grid, and it's a pleasure to be have our first win here in Asia, and we look forward to the next one.
Yeah, first of all, it's my first race with this new team and with George and Colin as well as teammates. And yeah, they have done a super good job on Algarve Pro Racing as well this weekend. So as Colin said, yesterday was not exactly as we planned, but we'll come back stronger now after this jump forward with a win in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
There was the results. It was 108 laps completed for the winning number 4 CrowdStrike Racing by APR car. 9 seconds ahead of Saturday's race winning 99 Racing car and the 22 Proton competition car. A further 9 seconds back, completing the podium. Ahead of 2nd place car yesterday, AF Corsa. CD Sport would take the win ahead of Breton Racing. A fine result for them on their LMP3 racing debut weekend, and Cool Racing. Pure Racing's Porsche 91 ahead of the 42 Santalot Racing Audi, and the 27 Optima Motorsport McLaren coming through to take a fine podium position for the British team. A raft of cars not classified for a variety of reasons in this one, with a number of clashes on track, a couple of cars suffering some problems that required attention in the garage, and Nielsen Racing run out of fuel at the very end. Stefan Rattel welcomes the teams to the podium. Bibendum welcomes all three crews onto the winners' podium here. Great stuff from CrowdStrike Racing by APR, 99 Racing and the Proton Competition number 22 crew. Champagne flowing, and that leaves the 99 Racing crew 10 points the good after the first two races of the season from CrowdStrike Racing by APR, closing that gap 10 points back, and then 3 points further back AF Corsa with DK Engineering and the 22 Proton cars even on 25 points. The 55 Proton competition team with 20, they'll be ruining that pit stop mistake under safety car. Ahmed Al-Hati, Louis Delatraz, Nikita Mazepan, the points leaders from Colin Brown, George Kurtz and Melter Jakobsen, with Alessio Rivera, Francois Perotto and Mathieu Vazivière third in the point standings. Lawrence Hur, Tom Dillman, Giorgio Roda, Julian Andlauer, Rennie Binder and Alexander Matschall all even on points as we come to the end of the Sepang adventure. LMP3, CD Sport take that win, and we're delighted to have done so. From Breton Racing and Cool Racing, disappointed with third here. They hoped and expected to do better on Sunday after a fine race win on Saturday. They'll be back though for sure in the UAE in the new year.
All right, we have car number 2, CD Sport. Congratulations, guys, for the LMP through. Well, what are the emotions running through right now? I mean, you've had a pretty clean weekend.
Well, utter relief. We've had such a tough season, and to come here and to be so competitive and to win the second race, we're absolutely stoked. Fabio Laverne is the man who's done all the heavy lifting. He's been absolutely peerless. He's coached us really well. So thanks to him and the whole CD Sport team who've given us an excellent car.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, Michael and Nick did an amazing job. No mistake. And then in the end, I had a good gap, and then I lose everything with the safety car, but I was ready to fight, you know. There was no way I was not going to have this win, so I'm so happy. I would just want to send I love you, Ambre and Lynn, my two daughters.
No, just thanks to the team. They gave us a brilliant car. They worked so hard the whole week, and we're really, really happy with the results. So, yeah, thanks to CD Sport.
Great stuff from CD Sport, and they will take the lead in the points as a result of that win. 43 points, 3 ahead of Saturday winners Cool Racing on 40, and 7 points ahead of a delighted Breton Racing with High Class Racing after that retirement, lagging back rather on 14 points. In the Drivers' Trophy, it would be the three you've just heard from, Fabian Laverne, Michael Jensen and Nick Adcock, leading the way from Alexander Bekantsov, Daniel Frost from Singapore and James Winslow, Dan Skristopole, Julian Jerby and Minea Stefan third in the standings, with the High Class Racing trio fourth and some way back and needing better form and fortune in the UAE. Moving on to the GT3 podium. Pure Racing delighted with that win. Santalot Racing adding a second place their win on Saturday, and a happy Optimum Motorsport McLaren crew onto the podium as well. Not Ratcliffe, Rob Bell and Ollie Milroy in that car. Porsche crew utterly delighted with that. Santalot disappointed with the penalty, but you've got to be fault-free to win.
We're here with car 91, Pure Racing. Congratulations on that. Now, you guys came through with a strong finish.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race for us. After yesterday's disaster with the safety car, we had a bit more luck today. So yeah, it worked out for us, and we're really happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Santalot Racing go through from Sepang, 11 points to good from Pure Racing, and Almanar Racing by Get Speed. No podium finishes so far for the team, but they are being consistent, and they are 20 points back and in the hunt as we leave Southeast Asia and head towards the Gulf. Attempter Racing up to a motorsport, the 43 Santa Lock next up. It is Alban Ferruti, Christopher Haase and Gilles Magnus that lead, from Alex Malikin, Joel Sturm and Klaus Bachler, Alfadzal Al-Zabir, Fab Schiller and Martin Conrad in third. 3 crews, 3 different makes, and nicely set up for the end of this season.
Well, that wraps up race 2 for the 4 hours of Sepang Asia Le Mans series. Emotions were high, but taking the top step for LMP2 was CrowdStrike. For LMP3 was CD Sport, who got bumped up a position from race 1. And then the GT Racing, it was ecstatic emotions coming from the Pure Racing. Well, we see you next February. We'll see you soon in Dubai.